been very mindful as well of preserving local culture whilst encouraging sustainable tourism. And this always means that it needs to balance the needs of international investors and local stakeholders and the wananchi wenyewe. So, you know, in the past we've seen policies like Utalii kwa Wote and various other policies that have come in where they've tried to kind of create a broader tourism offering that incorporates more inclusion for the people on the island. And again, somebody referred earlier on to the sense that there was a general discomfort with tourism in terms of how it is culturally kind of not aligned with traditional Zanzibari cultures. But by talking about we've talked about halal certification, we've talked as well a lot today about the importance of recognizing that we are inherently halal here in Zanzibar, and that by bringing in certification involving more suppliers, there will be the opportunity to broaden the trickle-down effect that comes from tourism, and tourism receipts spread larger through the local population, which creates greater inclusion and a stronger profile for tourism. Economic diversification and cultural preservation are government long-term goals, and the development of a halal segment would certainly align with this in the future.
Well, thank you, Bobby. But thank you. Now we can be talking more on that.
Okay.
But due to our time frame,
okay,
we can't do that. But I just have a small question for you. I believe you've been here since morning, yeah? And a lot of speakers, they've been debating about the perception or the understanding of halal tourism and the conventional tourism. So do you think investors are ready to come to Zanzibar, especially in specific, and invest here while we have 99% Muslims, and that is still the topic, halal travel and conventional tourism is still debating?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think one of the important things that I took away this morning was this regular reference to halal being lifestyle as much as religion. And I think that by looking at halal product as something that is kind of lifestyle based, it broadens the appeal into other market segments. You know, not everybody likes the traditional sort of tourism product that we have been sort of using a lot in Zanzibar recently. And I think the key issues that halal tourism faces here in terms of kind of growth is just knowledge and awareness. There needs to be facilitation. I think the opportunity, for example, for ZIPA to create a dedicated halal bureau which acts as a focal point for this segment with which to grow, so that finance, investors, suppliers, and stakeholders could all meet under a similar banner to discuss these things will be an important step forward as well. Because, sorry, just to finish, one of the key issues that we face as well is that nobody really understands the halal model sufficiently, and this is where it would be very important when established halal operators, such as my co-panelist here, come in order to educate the financial markets as well on how this works, because the banks here do not support this kind of product because they don't understand it. So we need to be looking at building awareness and creating the grounds for growth in this regard.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much. Now, let me bring in Mr. Islam Yusri. Let's just highlight how Retaj Hotels and Hospitality has successfully catered to halal travelers, and what lessons can be applied to Zanzibar.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. You know, the questions which you are just raised to me now, it's one of the topics in my presentation, which I prefer that to start with my presentation, ending by the video about Retaj Hotel and Hospitality, to give awareness to all the audience and the attendees about what we are focusing and what Retaj is planning.
Please be my guest.
So, Salam alaikum. I know that after lunch you need like a little bit energy to move, so let's be exciting a little bit. Huh? Okay. So, halal tourism is referred to travel and hospitality which aligns with the Islamic belief and the practice, including providing halal food prayer facility, alcohol-free environment, and accommodation that supported modesty. Market value and the growth, the halal tourism, as all my colleagues before mentioned, that we are projecting like $225 billion by 2028. This is coming by the incremental of the Muslim population, higher disposable income, and the growing awareness of the halal travel. The key features is halal-friendly accommodation, dedicated prayer space, which is most of the important things in the halal projects, and alcohol-free settings, leisure activity with modesty considerations, and separate facility for men and women are key components of the halal tourism. Okay, the key markets, Middle East is the significant source of the halal tourist, with disposable income and cultural alignment with the halal-friendly travel. Next one is the South Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei. We need to attract the customers to come to Zanzibar. Europe and North Africa, growing Muslim population in this country, like UK, Germany, US, also it's a demand, increasing the demand for the halal tourism. For sure, demographic like Muslim population growth and the young generation of the Muslim give us also more plus, more opportunity to have more business in the halal tourism. For sure, family focus, one of the most important things for Muslim people, they are not traveling alone. They are traveling with family. So we have to make the family satisfied. And this is what we are looking for always in all of our projects. We are concentrating with the family. If the family is happy, the father is happy. Like professor, right? Okay. So for sure, and the religious needs and the access that we are looking for the alcohol-free environment also, and certified food and prayer facility. The accommodation development, there is a significant opportunity to develop new halal compliance hotels or convert the existing one to be a halal certified hotel. And I think by do timing for pool, by separate pool between men and women, this is one of the key components which give privacy to the ladies, especially to the Muslim ladies, which is one of the key for the halal. For sure, after this, the luxury halal resorts targeting high-end tourists from GCC country have subsistent potential in this business. Halal food and beverage also industry, we need to create the certified food, the certified halal food. This is give the trust to the Muslim people when they are traveling. So instead of going to the restaurant and asking if this is halal or not, the people have to be sure that the restaurant is providing halal food. By what? By creating certification. And there is also new tourism category, which is called wellness tourism. This is the retreats, the focusing and separated spa for women and women. And for sure, the natural and the adventures that I just met, I think, some of the halal safari agents now. Okay, which is good that we have this. Halal compliant safari tours and beach activity can emphasize modesty and the family values to attract Muslim also to come. And after this, we'll go to potential as halal for Zanzibar. It's have geographical and cultural appeal. That Zanzibar location, historical ties to Oman, and incremental Muslim population make it suitable halal tourist destination. Cultural heritage, the unique mix of Zanzibar, Swahili, Arab, African. This mixed culture is attracting people to come. And for sure, the existing infrastructure like mosques, there is a number of mosques that make Muslim people feel that they do their prayers in every time. And the halal food availability, for sure, there is many restaurants providing Zanzibar, but we need to market it. We don't know which restaurants is providing halal and which restaurants is not providing halal. We need to market this. For sure, we'll take, as all my colleagues before mentioned, successful case study. Malaysia, it's successful One, the government itself got involved deeply in promoting halal for Malaysia, which is now became a result that Malaysia become #1 in the halal tourist. The implement support policies and targeting marketing campaign has made it top halal friendly destination. And this is need to inspire Zanzibar more and more and more. Indonesia also significantly increased Muslim visitors number by promoting natural beauty and incorporating halal friendly service. And this is showing why the investment now is going to Indonesia, going to Malaysia, and still they are hesitating to come to Zanzibar. Government rule and incentive. Tax incentives. So this is, our suggestion. So Zanzibar government could offer tax incentive to companies developing halal-friendly facility, similar to Malaysia initiatives, and simplify the business, reducing the bureaucratic red tape for permits related to the halal tourism projects can encourage also local and foreigner investment to come. Halal certification and standardization. This is when established local halal certification authority for hotel, restaurant, and service is essential. This is to build the trust for Muslim people. When they come to the hotel, this hotel is certified as a halal, they are sure, they are satisfied. They will see their friend in Saudi, their friend in Qatar, their friend in Kuwait, their friend in UAE around them, satisfied. So, how to marketing Zanzibar as a halal tourist? So, there is a target marketing, where you are going, so where you are doing your marketing. GCC, one of the biggest market for the halal. You need to market yourself in GCC. Tourists from countries like Qatar, Saudi, UAE, and Kuwait often seek luxury halal compliance accommodation. And also South Asia, like Malaysia, like Brunei, like Indonesia, as I mentioned before. And Africa, focus in Africa Muslim community. Africa Muslim community, this is also, it will be a plus for Zanzibar. And now, also what else? Digital marketing. All the people now have an Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You don't have? Okay, very good. Okay, you need to market Zanzibar in your TikTok. And also, we need to collaborate with the travel influence. We need to bring a blogger. We need to let the blogger to give a real experience, which is very important for the followers to know about Zanzibar. The partnership, for sure, there is well-known Muslim agency like Halal Booking. There is booking.com, but there is Halal Booking. Halal Booking also one of the biggest agents for the halal hotels. We need to partner with them and partner with the major airline like Qatar Airways, like South Asia, GCC. Still the ticket is high. What we are feel that still the ticket is high from Qatar from Doha to Zanzibar. Still ticket is high. We need to do some agreement with Qatar Airways, how we can support, the government can support each other. Okay. By the way, Retaj is partner with Qatar Airways, so don't worry. So also the infrastructure gaps. There is a limited halal hotel, as I mentioned, which is need halal certified hotel in Zanzibar. This is create opportunity to develop also. And again, the lack of halal certified restaurants, one of the weakness in Zanzibar at this stage. Training needs, for sure, providing hospitality training of the staff. The staff have to understand what the halal, like prayer time, food restriction, and the culture sensitivity. The partner with International Halal Tourism Organization will develop this training program. Okay, there is some of my colleagues also implementing like online training for this points. Will be very important also to have the hotels apply for the staff to do this training. For sure, will impact on the GDP, for sure. Now, 27% of Zanzibar from the tourism. Developing halal tourism can significantly support and increase this figure by attracting a high spending markets. The Muslim travel market are known to spend more per traveler than the global market. And this is improving the halal, by improving halal infrastructure, Zanzibar can target this high spending market. But you need to give to the high spending people what they need to let them come. With the adequate infrastructure, Zanzibar also can join with Malaysia, with Turkey and Indonesia to be one of the top halal destinations. And this is like investment benefits, as I mentioned it. Also, this is where is Zanzibar now. So almost you have yearly between 500 to 600 visitors. But if you look to the people coming, more to like 80% of the people from Europe. So you don't have the visitors still. So I'm talking why Retaj. Retaj established in Doha as one of the hotel groups, 2008. We are simply philosophy. We have a simple philosophy. Provide guest, client, and the stakeholder a dynamic experience that's comfortable and customized and unparalleled. And it understand that what makes a hotel and hospitality management company a leader is the dedication and the will to offer state-of-the-art hotel facility, extraordinary guest service, innovate experience, granted guest satisfaction, and special attention to shareholder. That's exactly where Retaj come in. Retaj Hotel and Hospitality success is based on the unique missiology that combines years of experience, efficiency, world-class professionalism with the uniqueness of the genuine Arabic hospitality. This is our map around the world, 25 hotels, almost 5,000 key in 9 countries. We have in Qatar, we have Bangladesh, Saudi, Comoros, Sudan, Mauritania, Egypt, Turkey, Georgia. Very soon, inshallah, very soon, Zanzibar, very soon. And again, this is our role, as I mentioned it in my presentation. I know that Mr. Muhammad is looking for me. So okay. Again, we are ready. And please accept my invitation to watch the video of Retaj Hotel and Hospitality. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who have been instrumental in our success. Currently, Retaj proudly manages an impressive assets portfolio. Our plan for 2030 is to reach 50 hotels across 15 countries and manage 80 mixed-use buildings with assets valued at 25 billion QAR. Welcome to Retaj Hotels and Hospitality, where tradition meets modernity, and every stay is a memorable experience. Established in Doha in 2010, Retaj Hotels' vision is to spread a welcoming, congenial, and home-like atmosphere worldwide. Its mission is to provide a warm and friendly environment for guests, employees, and stakeholders, ensuring everyone experiences the true essence of hospitality. At Retaj Hotels, our success is driven by a dedicated leadership team that embodies our vision of excellence and hospitality. Retaj Hotels and Hospitality operates a diverse portfolio of properties, each uniquely designed to cater to the needs of our discerning guests. From luxury resorts to city hotels, we ensure excellence in every detail. Each property reflects the local charm and character while maintaining the high standards of service and luxury that Retaj is known for. Our focus has always been on enhancing customer experience through personalized service, advanced technology, and sustainable practices. Exciting new projects are on the horizon, promising innovative experiences and state-of-the-art facilities. Retaj Hotels and Hospitality, our growth plan, is driven by a commitment to expanding our global presence, enhancing our service offerings, and continuously elevating the guest experience. At Retaj Hotels and Hospitality, we are committed to creating extraordinary experiences for our guests. Thank you for being part of our journey.
Thank you. Have the point to Brother Islam. Well, let me introduce or welcome Brother Saleh Saad Mohammed. After all these, after the two presentations, do you think it's doable? Do you think we can do that in Zanzibar? The video from Bobby McKenna. So do you think the authorities, when I say authorities, I mean plus Zipa, do you think you have the incentives and the strategies and the policies to make all this doable in Zanzibar?
Thank you again, Moderator, Mr. Mohammed. I do acknowledge what Mr. Bobby said, Mr. Islam said, and indeed, let me say, starting by saying, if I'm mistaken, then I would like one among us to stand and correct me. Zanzibar, currently, is the only country that have the most capable government. The government that places itself in strategizing the positive movement into development. And yes, of course, indeed, it's doable. We are going to do it. And we are going to outsmart whoever started the halal tourism before us. And I'm not saying this just for the sake of the media in front of me. I'm saying this because through Commission of Tourism, ZIPA, and His Excellency himself, we do acknowledge and understand the potential of diversifying our current conventional tourism sector into halal tourism, because we are focusing not only into halal, we are focusing into conference tourism, we are focusing into sports tourism, we are focusing into educational tourism, we are focusing into health tourism. And this is why I'm saying we are capable, because at the same time, we are focusing on all areas, and we are currently working on strategizing, developing incentives, developing soft infrastructure, making sure all these sectors, all these diversificative areas are capable. And having said that, when it comes to halal tourism, people have talking here about certifying hotel and resort to be halal certified and recognized. I can promise you that can take a maximum of 24 hours just to do some such things. But for it to be properly doable, we need to have proper regulation and policies on site. This is very important. And that's why, starting from today, through the Commission of Tourism, we have initiated the Halal Tourism Forum, but this is the start, where we gather information from different sectors, from different people, from different experts, from different people like Islam who have already done that, and we will be coming with our own strategy, our own policies, our own regulation that will be doable, but most importantly, that be conducively and allow everyone to venture into this particular business. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Zipa, I know you are ready to see all this come true. The dream of Zanzibar being the halal tourism hub and everything. But again, when people are asking, because this thing, the halal travel and everything, is a global thing, and investors are ready to come and invest in Zanzibar, specifically Zanzibar, that is. But things are dragging, and you have promised us that you will be working on this. Especially, I really liked it when you said for a hotel to be halal certified, It can take only less than 24 hours. So how are you going to make this happen?
I do believe what we have gathered today from different sectors, as I said, from different professionals, will be enough for us to come with our own strategy and with our own policies and regulation. This is very important because without a good regulation, I can tell you now, since 2020, Zanzibar have managed to register around 400 projects just with Zipper, worth around $5.5 billion. This is because of the proper regulation, proper policies, proper directives that are in place. So we don't want to move into certifying a hotel into halal tourism without placing a proper regulation, a proper certification, and proper strategy that will help not only for the hotelier to venture into this business, but will also help for hotelier to significantly maximize their profit. This is very important to us because it's for Zanzibar, it's not about collecting taxes. It's all the way around. It's about collecting taxes because this is what helps in our economy, but it's also about how we sustain our own investors to remain into a business for a longer term. And this is very important. And this is why I'm saying we will soon than people that are expecting. And what we have gathered today, what we have collected today, I believe marketing director from Commission for Tourism is there. It won't get to December. We'll have everything in place. This is what I do believe.
Inshallah, inshallah. Back to you, Bobby, before... by the way, any of you can answer this question. Let's talk about the products now. Let's talk about the products, because if you have good products, it's when we're going to have investors and clients, tourists to come here. Bobby, do you think we have those products here? We can market our products to the world?
Thank you. Yes, I think, one of the things that we've noticed is that here in town, we have maybe 4 or 5 that I can immediately think of, halal hospitality offerings. On the beaches, for which Zanzibar is justifiably famous, I can only think of 2 halal facilities that are currently operating according to those dictates. So we need to grow the product. We need to find new ways to kind of bring in investment to sort of start actually developing further halal product, because I don't think it's there at the moment. And this requires a push from all sides, from the government, from finance, from operators, because people don't really understand the halal investment model. And that's why it's important that when we do bring in specialists, that they can teach us how it works. Because, there's a client of mine who wanted to develop a 5-star halal resort here, and he struggled to get finance from the local banks in order to do that. So there are some challenges that we need to look into. There are investment gaps, but everything as we've established is already in place. We just need to facilitate growth.
And Islam, do you think you coming here in Zanzibar to invest, is it because of the climate, the demand is there, or have you seen something on the government side which attracts you more? Because you've just talked about the taxes and everything. What do you want to tell Brother Saleh there?
Oh, first of all, that Retaj, you don't have the halal brand to operate the property. You need to bring the halal brand to operate the property. What's now, as Mr. Bobby just mentioned, he said like you have 3 or 4 halal hotels, but what is the brand? We don't know. It's not international. Even for myself, if I would like to visit with my family one of the halal resorts, when I started to search in Zanzibar hotels like booking.com or something like this, I will not find. So maybe it's page 15, maybe in page 14, like this. So you need to bring the brand who can marketing you outside. This brand have an audience. This brand have customers. This brand have a website. Always the customer log in would like to go Would like to go to would like to go to Zanzibar? Yes, we have Retaj in Zanzibar. We will go to Retaj Zanzibar. This is how to marketing yourself. For sure, Alhamdulillah, Dr. Hussein, His Excellency, the President, he's supporting us. I met him during his visit to meet Excellency Sheikh Tamim, and I'm very proud that I have the President supporting the halal tourism like this one, and he's fighting. And what we need the trust from the owner. Owner have to trust on the brand. You have a very, very, very good products not available all the world, but how to frame it to be a halal tourism.
Brother Saleh from Zipa now. I believe when you talk about Zanzibar, you're talking the whole island, but there are some islands like there are some islands where there are tourist attractions, and investors will really like to invest there, but the cultural aspect of it is hindering these investors to come there. So what do you think? How are you going to go about that and see that investors go all the way to those islands?
Okay, thank you very much for the most important question. I have to tell you this. All our investors and all hotels that have been registered in Zanzibar are scattered around different parts of the island. For the sake of the audience, Zanzibar, we have 2 sister islands, which is Unguja and Pemba, but other 54 islets. And the government strategy and the movement have already opened investment in those small islands, which are currently 54, but we did announce 18 of them, and 16 of them have been leased to investors. These 16 islands have managed to attract an investment of around $384 million. So for that fact, I can say this, I'm not sure if there are some places where investors have been facing challenges implementing their project. But I do believe as human, as people with different perspective, there are some misconceptualization and misunderstanding in some areas. But if you go through and you go around, all areas within Zanzibar have hotels and business that are currently operating.
Thank you, sir. We are going to take 1 or 2 questions from the audience, and then we wind it up. Brother Khalfan. And then there's another hand from the back there. I think it's a sister. Only 2 questions from Brother Khalfan. Be very brief and precise.
Bismillah ar-Rahim. Thank you so much, Moderator, for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, the panelists, for very insightful presentation, discussions. Mine will go to Islam and to the Director or CEO for Zipa. Starting with Islam. You're most welcome to Zanzibar. Second is, how are you going to ensure you embrace sustainability practices, or how do you ensure over there the practices of sustainability, sustainable halal tourism is also coming to Zanzibar? But you can share with us your experiences on ensuring sustainable halal tourism in your group. That's the question to you. To Brother Saleh, sustainable tourism is a key thing now, and as we see the government of Zanzibar is opening up even to the smallest islands for investments. How do you ensure that the ecosystem is sustainable, or do we have standards, policies, regulations to ensure that these places are environmentally sustainable and so on? So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Yeah, very brief answers.
So thank you for the question, Mr. Khalfan. So I will give you like 2 examples. So we have our resorts at Retaj Moroni in Comoros Island. This one, it was managed before by Accor. By the support of the government of Comoros Island in Moroni, they gave us this hotel. The first day for operating by Retaj, we demolished 250,000 euro alcohol on the ocean. Okay, and we convert the nightclub and the disco to be the academic for training and the best meeting room in Comoros Island. Now the hotel is #1 in Comoros Island, that supported by the embassies and the government. And alhamdulillah, the occupancy is almost 100%. There's only 55 rooms and now expanding for 107 rooms. And the meeting rooms and the events, it's always full. Second one, it will be Retaj Royal Istanbul, the one in Gunishli. This hotel, when you come from the airport, ask about Retaj, they will tell you a Arab hotel. So the people being known us as Arab because most of our customers from Saudi, from Qatar, from Emirates, and this is what we are looking for. So we need to attract the high spender customers to come to Zanzibar.
Now, I will talk mostly not only on sustainable tourism, but I will talk on general, on the sustainable investment. Of course, there are regulations in place, there are policies in place, but in particular, what you have raised on how we can make this small island sustainable, we have regulation in place. And to highlight to you and to the audience in this room is that among the regulation is that once you are approved as an investor and you are approved to start implementation, meaning construction, you are only supposed to use 10% of that particular island. So you can understand that we are reserving the nature of that particular small island, 99% of it. And simply speaking, this is what we are doing in small islands, but also when it comes to Sister Island and Golden Pemba, there are regulations that you are not allowed to start construction before you conduct your environmental impact assessment to know the way that you can mitigate, the way that how you can solve those kind of problems. And this is how we are currently dealing with all our investors, but we are moving in a positive direction to improve our own policies and regulations to make sure that the sustainability does not only remain in terms of environment, but its sustainability remains also in terms of the financial sustainability of that particular investment that remains to generate more income for its own investors.
The last question from that sister. Yeah, the hand is up already. Kindly pass the mic. I was thinking when Islam, you were talking about how how Retaj Hotels is known as an Arab hotel, and they're spending margin and everything. So when you guys come and invest in Zanzibar, the locals, are they going to really afford that? But this is a topic we're going to debate, me and you, after the panel. Please, ma.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Fairuz from South Africa. I'd just like to ask Mr. Saleh, the words that are flying around the room is about investment, it's about the spaces, but I don't hear anything about the people, about the communities. How are the communities going to buy into this, all right? Because without communities, we don't have a product, yeah? So are the communities going to be going through an awareness program first to get them aware as to what the happenings are on the islands and also even here on the main, on this island here itself? And then also, what's the way forward to making them understand the benefit of tourism so that then when they step out, because I've heard on our cruise yesterday that they were saying that on one of the islands, people aren't really open for getting tourism onto that island because of the Islamic culture that happens there. So my question is, are you going to then engage those people and put out a program so that they are being educated about the benefit of tourism? Because I think when people understand that benefit, the contribution is, of course, they welcome it with open arms.
Thank you very much, my sister. What I can tell you is that we have started long way for us to come to this particular stage. Where we started into tourism around 1979, 1980s, and where we are now, 2024, registering around the 700 hotels that are currently operating in Zanzibar. The government have done a lot in conveying the message on the importance of tourism, but also the government is continuing to convey this information and training our own locals to understand the importance of tourism. By the way, it has been raised here by Mr. Islam that currently tourism expand its contribution to our national economy, GDP by 27%, but is around the 30%, and this is on the fact that we are calculating the standard sector of the economy. But on the other part, I can tell you the entire service sector, which is pretty much dominated by tourism, have a market share, have a share of around 57% in our GDP. So the people understand this and the government understand this, but of course, as I said before, human nature conveys everywhere. There are people who have their own perspective in particular aspect of things, not only tourism. There are people who understand by investing into industries in their particular area is a problem. There are people who understand investing into tourism into their particular area is a problem. But of course, as you said before, we have numbers of programs, but we are conveying our message, the importance of investing in tourism and why we should open into tourism. And this is why sooner rather than later, before 2025, I believe our CESARA policy will be out that will help these people understand the potential importance of tourism and how it gives back to the community. And I believe for those who believe is the tourism sector is relatively not important to them, will open up and the thing will go smooth as I think people are thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, na makofi tafadhali. Asante sana, Brother Saleh, and we've come to an end of this discussion, and I'm really humbled and honored to host you gentlemen here, and thanks again to the Commission, the Tourism Board, and the government of Zanzibar to be doing this event. Hopefully it's a continuous thing which will be seen time after time so that we can promote more for halal tourism. This is what we have come up for, this is what we have taken home from our panelists. From the government side, Brother Saleh has assured us that by the end of 2024, inshallah, things will be in place, the policies, the strategies, and everything which the investor needs for them to come and invest in halal tourism in Zanzibar, things will be in place. And from Brother Islam, he's ready to bring more investors apart from Retaj, that is after Zipa and the government have done their part, and we will see more of investors coming to Zanzibar, inshallah. And Mr. Bobby McKenna, Mzanzibari mwenzetu, he has just told us that the products are there. We just need to market them more and see significant change in the industry and make it happen, because he believes that only those 2 or 3 hotels and the restaurants, they're not enough. From his look, I can say, he says that the government needs to do more. The investors are here, but the government needs to do more. I am Mohammed Matano. Thank you and be blessed.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. Makofi mengi kwa panelists wetu.
Hiyo ni kwenye mjadala wa 3 hii leo kutoka Hotel Verde, na kubwa zaidi tunaloendelea kuliangazia ni utalii wa halali. Mjadala ambao umemalizika hivi sasa ulikuwa ukiweza kuangalia fursa kubwa ambazo zipo katika utalii wa halali hapa Zanzibar. Lakini kubwa zaidi katika mazungumzo hayo, inaonekana wazi kwamba hizo fursa zipo sana. Jambo la msingi tu ni kuendelea kuzitangaza, lakini pia ni namna ambavyo serikali inavyoweza kuandaa mazingira kwa wawekezaji, lakini pia watalii kutoka katika maeneo ya Mashariki ya Kati kuweza kuja hapa Zanzibar kwa lengo kubwa la kuendelea kukuza utalii wa halali. Na kwa kipindi hiki sasa tayari mjadala wa 4 wajumbe wa mjadala huo wanaalikwa kwenye jukwaa kwa ajili ya kuweza kuanzisha mjadala wao, na miongoni mwa wale ambao watakao kuwepo ni Dr. Haris Kolak Ali pamoja naye Abdul Malik, yeye Abdul Malik Taylor, lakini Hamadi Said, Dr. Hamadi Saidi pamoja naye Khalfan Abdullah Salim ambaye yeye ni wa hapa hapa Tanzania. Na hivi sasa mjadala unataka kuanza, tuungane nao.
Good afternoon or good yes. I'm back again and I'm honored to moderate this session. Please, straight to the point, let me give this opportunity to panelists to introduce themselves. I hope I have introduced myself in the morning. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hadija. Generally, people pronounce it Atis differently, but it is Hadija. In Turkish, we call it a bit softer, so Hadija. I'm from Turkey, but from last 7 years, I'm in Zanzibar. So you can call me half Zanzibari, half Turkish.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Abdul Malik Taylor. I do have an English surname, and I wasn't always a Muslim. I became Muslim more than 20 years ago. I was a practicing Hindu, and I will speak about my journey a little bit in how I came to Islam and how I moved into halal tourism as well. And just as an additional point, my mum came from neighboring Kenya. She was born there as well. And I'm the founder of Halal Tourism Britain, but I'm also Britain's first professionally qualified Muslim tour guide. And what I also do now is train individuals to establish guided tours around the world, as well as upskilling existing tour guides. And I will move more into this in the presentation as well. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hamad Khabis Saidi. Currently I'm working at Institute of Public Administration as a Deputy Principal Administration, Planning and Finance. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
I'm Khalfan Abdallah, a Tanzanian, founder of Abrar Consult, which is focusing on halal tourism advisory and training. But I'm also well known in this market for promoting and advisory on Islamic finance. So I'm very glad to be here to share with you on halal tourism, particularly on the sustainability side of it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, the panelists. Actually, we have 2 presentations, actually, and before the presentation, because the last session was connecting to something regarding the community, maybe I'll start with you, Madam Hadija. Now I understand it's Hadija. Because you are here for almost like 7 years. Yeah, and I understood that you are running a foundation here. So can you please share with us on the sustainability aspects, the role of community engagement, because the previous, they say, it's about community, you have to connect it. So can you share your experience, the community, especially the foundation, in promotion of the halal tourism?
Thank you. I think it's work. Yeah. Okay. Again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will talk about a bit different halal. I mean, because for me, halal has a lot of aspects, much more than only accommodation, food, shopping, etc. I will add a bit more thing like impact and community merely. So, Salam means peace. When we call Assalamu alaikum, we say peace be upon you. So it is at the same time by acrostic our activities, starting from permaculture, education, art, community, and empowerment. I will show a video because it is always hard for me to summarize everything in a very short time. So that is why I want to show you what we do. I think. Can you, yeah, please. Yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, I need to talk a bit about myself. From morning, there are some questions how we can bring people from all the way from Indonesia to here. I am a traveler, so I traveled almost 100 countries, and I used to work in Turkish Airlines for 9 years. So before Zanzibar, I saw so many countries, like 97 countries, I think it was. And I was thinking I can't live outside of Turkey because I studied in Europe and I decided I will never ever live in my life outside of my country until I see Zanzibar. So the second day I came to Zanzibar, I decided to live here. I quit my job, I sold my house, everything. So actually you can be much more self-confident than anybody in the world because it is kind of like I don't know, witchcraft or something, like people are not able to go. Even we have some guests from here, some panelists were living with us for 4 or 5 days, and they didn't want to leave actually because it is somehow the best place to live and to see. So that is my graduation, the first picture. I have my PhD for Islamic unity. So that was one reason I chose Zanzibar because I needed to have some Muslims around. So it is more than tourism, it is a lifestyle, as some of our guests said here. Now you see in the last picture my photo with my Zanzibari husband and with our 5 children. Yeah. When it comes to Salam, we have actually a lot of numbers. I don't like so much numbers, but still it is a good way to show in 7 years we have 5 social brands. Some of them you'll see in the exhibition area upstairs. And we have 120 people working for Salam. We hosted more than 2,000 volunteers in 7 years. We impacted 20,000 orphans and 500,000 people in general charitable activities. And we are empowering every year more than 100 women by vocational training and by microfinance. These are the women, some of the women who are getting trained, and then these are the women how their lives changed after they got the trainings. Okay, let me talk about a bit numbers. Actually, when we talk about numbers, we have big money. I mean, as Muslim world, we are so many. We are almost 2 billion people in the world, and our economy is about 2 trillion. I know some part from the charity organizations because we are talking that halal tourism's budget is around, it will be around 200 billion, but actually our wakf, our charitable budget, including zakat and sadaqah, is 1 trillion. So it is bigger than this. We have a lot of money to spend. So what we do in Salam is actually focusing both. So we bring people who can do holiday, but at the same time who can donate. So most of the people who come Salam, they do a lot of volunteering. At the same time, they do Safari Blue and everything, what you can imagine, to enjoy the environment and the community. And then they spend money. So the money which they give to us, we are using for our projects like school, like vocational training, art and culture activities. But at the same time, they are giving their zakat and sadaqah to the community directly. So that is, well, when I talk with numbers, like 30% of our budget is coming from these volunteers, but they are coming with a lot of donations as well. So we do different community projects, including tours like retreats, including fair trade, including a lot of heritage activities, volunteering and charitable activities like street arts. And we do a lot of art and culture projects in the village, not only in Salam. So we are training artists, we are reviving Tanzanian and Zanzibari art, and so many things. So I just, before I finish my speech, I want to give you an example. We are trying to be a slow city in Kizimkazi. I don't know if you are aware what slow cities is. It is like Città Slow is a movement in Italy, which started in Italy, but now in every country. In Africa, we have only two slow cities, one in South Africa, one in Mozambique. But that is an example from Turkey, Seferihisar, where we held the first Halal tourism conference. And their population is around 25,000 people. And before they became Città Slow, like in 2009, their visitors were around 75,000 people. Now they have 1.5 million tourists. Can you imagine, like 25,000 people, very small place, but with correct tools, they became now one of the most tourist attractions in Turkey. So there are so many things to talk, but I am leaving it to the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Hadija, actually, for that insight. Allow me to give this an opportunity, Brother Abdul Malik. I hope you are also going to share with us an insight. Please, because there are also tour operators, please tell us something regarding the tour operator in connection with the halal tourism. Welcome, brother.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Abdul Malik Taylor, and as I said in the beginning, I'm the founder of Halal Tourism Britain, and the slide will appear. But my journey into halal tourism came as initial interest looking at Muslim heritage when I became Muslim. When I was asking the different brothers and sisters, anywhere where I'd meet them, what do you know about your own history in Britain? What do you think the response was? Nothing. I was like, hey. But they were rushing to go to Spain to look at the Alhambra in Granada. And I just thought that's a bit of a disconnection there. But you don't know nothing about your history here, but you want to go to a destination which we know about and which kind of like seems to be where the timeline for Muslim contribution to science stops, 1492. So what have we done for the last 500 years? Another question to think about. But what happens is, I was a practicing Hindu growing up, and I was very much into recycling, be the eco-warrior in my teens and stuff like that. And believe it or not, when I became Muslim, I found it difficult to find like-minded Muslims at that time. This is more than 20 years ago. But I'm delighted to see that now there is a movement amongst the Muslim community globally where they are trying to think about sustainability as well as the different types of ways in which we can fulfill the ayah in the Quran that talks about us being the custodians on earth. Okay. I'm going to continue. I do have some slides. I mean, as I made mention, I did become Britain's first professionally qualified Muslim tour guide, and that was a complete shock. I didn't know at the time. And what happens, though, is that from one tour, I established a number of walking tours, and then it was seeing the sightseeing tour buses go past me. I thought one of these days we're going to have a sightseeing bus tour as well. Sleeping at night, I've wondered to myself, why am I going to wait until that day to happen? Let's do it, up and running. Did some bit more research, found a bus company that we could work with, and then we established a sightseeing bus around London where we could look at Muslim heritage in Britain. And the earliest Muslim heritage in Britain goes back to Does anyone know? Like, take a guess? Let's have some audience participation. I know it's the last session, you might be tired, but normally when I do presentations, I like audience participation. How far back do you think the earliest Muslim connection to Britain goes? What century, or how many centuries ago? 1,000 years? More than 1,000 years. You're looking at 1,300 years ago in the 8th century, and this would have been at the time of the Tabi'in. I do have a picture of what it is, but I can't show it at the moment, but hopefully, inshallah, I might be able to share it as we go along. And that was when an English king minted a gold coin, equivalent of a gold dinar, with a shahada on it as well. And it does still exist in Britain, in the British Museum, except you wouldn't know where it is unless you were taken to it. And what happens, though, so we established that, and as we're going on, I've established a team as well. Not just any old team, a committed team that is made of the vast majority of them are converts to Islam as well. So that shows you that the converts of Islam, we actually have a passion for this topic as well. And what you may have noticed in the different presentations, we've been talking about excessively about the food experience, about the accommodation experience, about the beaches. Have you been hearing about the tour guides? Have you heard about them? Globally, this is a missing factor when we look at halal tourism for some reason. And the reason why I say that is that by way of example, what we did in Britain, we were looking at history or elements of history or presence of Muslim from a different perspective. We were telling our own narrative. It was not being told us by the museums and galleries. There is a picture I have as well, which relates to Zanzibar, that we do cover, and how the gallery portrays it and what it misses out is something completely different, that we've had to raise it with them, and we were waiting for their response. And that's something we would do. We would challenge something when we see is not done correctly. We were also commissioned to do the first Islamic tour in a gallery in London, the world famous Tate Britain. And there we managed to get the labels off the gallery. That is me there in the uniform. Believe it or not, I was with the police when I converted to Islam. So here I am at Tate Britain, wearing my infamous red fez hat. It's going to go in. I was going to skip all this anyway, because I've spoken about it. Just to let you know a bit of background, Visit Britain, the National Tourism Office, they see me as the person of authority in halal tourism in Britain. So that's by them. I have also delivered at a conference at Visit Britain to a room full of packed people, where I and only one other person, we were only 2 Indians who were present there, the rest were non-Muslims there. First question I asked them, what does halal mean to you? Does it mean to do with halal food? They all put their hand up. Halal doesn't mean that. It also means tourism, as we say. But as we said, these are just some pictures. We did establish halal food cruises on the River Thames as well. That's the earliest Muslim connection we've got. But what we have done, what we've really tried to push out is this narrative where the Muslims can take ownership of their own history. What I've seen in different places and in Zanzibar, which people have experienced yesterday, is that people are questioning, whose history are you telling? Is it the colonizer's history, or is it your own history you're telling people? Especially when you have a Muslim audience. I experienced the same when I went to Malaysia. The person delivering it, the tour guide, was a Muslim as well. And what we found is, by our experience, that the people who even pay for guided tours, they would have like an imam boost as well, because they're seeing their own history being explained where it is from their own perspective, not what they've been taught about previously, about a different narrative. And what we actually find economically, if you like, those people who book guided tours spend more and they stay more longer as well. So that's something to bear in mind in the tourism office here as well, in terms of tour guides as well. There is a, I'm just going to skip these parts, there's some buildings actually. But don't forget your plaques as well, in terms of where your heritage sites are. Is it possible to go to a website to actually see the list of them? Are they visible as well? Are you actually putting more up as well? These are key questions that we need to be asking when we're doing tour guide and promotion of history as well. But just to, I think to sum up, we do really need to change our mindsets in terms of the delivery of having tour guides, in terms of what they're narrating. We really need to embrace the media, whether domestically, internationally, whether it's print, digital, podcasting as well. That's another key form of media that's emerging as well. Become members of Travel Trade Association, not just locally, but not regionally, but international, I would say, as well. That's something that we did. We actually joined and we networked with different people. And just to let you know as well, there's a lot been spoken about halal tourism being for the Muslim community, but we also say it's also for the non-Muslim community. By way of example, 30% of the people who book with us are non-Muslims, and that really shocks people in terms of that figure. So it actually shows there is actually a greater appeal than just the Muslims themselves. You can have, there is this part to do TripAdvisor and reviews as well. I was pretty surprised. I looked at this hotel in terms of how many reviews they've got. They've only got 382 reviews. Why? I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to set something for you. Before you leave this hotel, give the hotel a review on TripAdvisor. Let's get it past 400. Let's get it past 500. Let's help in those reviews as well, because reviews themselves bring more customers as well. And it's stuck. Is the battery finished? Oh, okay. So for us, in terms of like the economic sustainability growth, we do talk about within our tours in terms of how people should be sustainable, etc. How we can implement it on the cruises. What do you do with you know, the cans? You have recycling bins, etc. What else can you do in terms of like the sightseeing bus tour, as opposed to, you know, 30 to 40 different families going into central London? We say, look, we meet you at your local mosque, we'll come and pick you up, and then we do the tour together. So when you think about carbon footprint, etc., it's far less than, you know, people doing multiple trips, etc. And we do also have a specific tour with regards to Islam and nature, and that in itself like makes people a lot more aware of how one's faith on a practical tour can play a part in becoming more eco-friendly, etc. as well. We've got some challenges here, but I think I will leave everything else for the questions. I think I've gone over the time, but there are some things to do to questions and answers. But that's the picture we have in the National Gallery, National Portrait Gallery, where you have the Zanzibar envoy meeting Queen Victoria with her husband, Prince Albert. And obviously over here, the colonial power before used to be Britain. However, what we see here is actually a fake painting. It makes mention of it on the label, but what's missing on the label is the envoy's religion. It doesn't make mention he's Muslim. And that's one thing we have raised. And we've heard even the staff members who would cover this picture, we've heard their commentary on it, and they leave out their religion as well. So who's telling whose narrative then? We'll just finish there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Malik, for the very insightful. Allow me to take this opportunity. Dr. Ahmad Said, can you have a mic? Because you mentioned you are coming from the public administration and also from the Zanzibar College. Can you please share with us an importance of the public administration in creating the sustainable halal tourism?
Thank you, the moderator, and good afternoon to you. Actually, I want to take much time because I want to present the new thing. Of course, I will present the same thing in a new perspective, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Because what I wanted to present, of course, have already been presented. But I will talk on 5 aspects, actually, in which public administration is concerned. First of all, of course, we have to, when we talk about public administration, we are talking about the government, actually, and its institutions and other organs. Here we are talking about implementing those policies and the management of public programs and services. So they are, like when we talk about sustainability and halal, or the case of public administration, first of all, we have to talk about policy formulation and implementation, which since morning we have been discussing some of the presenters here. And this, of course, we can see like that the previous presenter from ZIPA was talking about the policy issues. And also we have what we call it, Commission for Tourism as institution which oversee those policies. We have also public service delivery for sustainable tourism. This, of course, we are talking about developing system for efficient waste management. And as we see, of course, we know the issue of waste management goes hand in hand with halal tourism, because we are talking about the purity or purification of, and of course we're talking about when we talk about halal, is responsible utilization of resources, of course. And also we are talking about regulation and oversight. We can have policies, but without enforcing those policies, we cannot realize the advantage of those policies. So public administration comes in here to oversight the implementation of the policies which are on the ground. And of course, we have some of them right now, like the CEO from from ZIPA mentioned, but also we need to actually go on the field to see the proper formulation of the policies and how can we implement them for the betterment of the halal tourism. So here is where public administration comes in. But we're talking about collaboration with stakeholders. This is through public-private partnership. Of course, there are two operators. There are this Chamber of Commerce and other stakeholders. As government, of course, have to seek collaboration with them from the beginning of, formulation of the policy, but also the implementation of the policy. Here is where public administration actually comes in, and the public sector management, of course, we are talking about sustainable tourism initiatives, like administering funds. Of course, it is time actually we can see Islamic finance comes in to support the halal tourism. Of course, we have gone a step ahead in for Islamic finance. So I think we can also leverage this Islamic finance to support the halal tourism. So as far as public administration is concerned, these areas is where we can actually chip in and promote halal tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Coming back to the insight which has been shared on Zanzibar, on the public aspect, how do you see that from the opportunity which has been explained since morning? How can you see Zanzibar can leverage the local resources toward this concept of halal tourism? Can you share with us some insights?
Yeah, some insight actually. The first thing actually we need to educate our local communities actually. As one of the audience this morning actually highlighted about the misconception from the communities, and which led actually to lag behind participating in the tourism, was like this misconception actually. But coming to halal tourism, of course, again, if we don't educate our community, it will be the same thing that happened to the actually conventional tourism. So the first thing actually is to educate them about the halal tourism and to show them the opportunities that can be tapped. But the other thing is through the halal certification, of course, we can actually link it with our local farmers actually, and to produce agricultural products, that is to bring in the farm to table experience, which is really halal. Or we can talk about like introducing green halal tourism through agricultural products, also like fishing activities. So all of these issues actually we can actually include the community and participate full in halal tourism.
Okay, thank you. Brother Khalfan, now let me give you the chance to share with us an insight. I understood that you have a presentation, but before as they are preparing, understand that you are coming from the Sharia. You have acted and worked in some of the Sharia board and Islamic perspective. Can you share with us the insights before your presentation, how non-Muslim can benefit from this concept of halal tourism?
Sorry for that. Thank you for the questions. With respect to Islamic finance and non-Muslims who are maybe in a sector that is related to tourism, definitely being a non-Muslim is not a factor. What is the factor for financing from the Sharia point of view is the project as to whether it is Sharia compliant, as we call it, that it has to meet Sharia requirements. So to give an example, particularly when it comes to hotel financing, for example, there are normally some standards that Sharia boards will put in place to financing hotels or restaurants. And one of that would be the issue of halal, the halal aspect of it, in the sense that the code of conduct or the code of operations for that particular hotel should be, for example, when it comes to the kitchen, should be offering halal products and not non-halal products. Though we have seen there are different methods of financing these accommodations. Sometimes this can be financed through partnership. Sometimes they are financed through trade-based arrangements, of which these conditions are a little bit applied differently given the mode of operations. So there are checklists, I would say, for financing hotels or restaurants within Islamic banks in order to meet Sharia requirements. So a non-Muslim is not a factor. It is how are you embracing the halal philosophy in the way you operate your business. That's what I would say.
As you are coming to share with us your presentation, we're expecting, please chip in on how the case study of, maybe I understand maybe you have operated in East Africa from Kenya and Tanzania and a Sharia's perspective. Please share with us an example of the case studies of the successful sustainable tourism. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much. If I'll just stand up here. So sustainability and halal tourism, we have heard since morning here as to what halal tourism is. There are so many definitions, so this one will be included among them, which are all related to the fact that it has to be a travel or hospitality that is in compliance with Islamic principles to meet the needs of Muslim travelers, but even non-Muslim travelers can enjoy these services. As the sector grows, it is important to integrate sustainability into halal tourism. And the reason is quite clear, that Islam or halal philosophy is also about the future generations. It's about preservation, the good, and prevention of the harm. And when we talk of sustainability, is mainly many things, but with respect to halal tourism, is looking at the environmental side and the cultural preservation side of the business, of the tourism sector, and so on. So it is critical, and I'm glad that the organizers, Commission for Tourism in Zanzibar, saw that it is important to talk about sustainability and halal tourism, because this is where the world is now, talking about sustainability in so many things. Even in the field of finance, where I've been for many years, we talk about sustainable finance. Okay, so sustainability is very critical in so many sectors. Now, the key components of sustainable halal tourism, we're talking about eco-friendly accommodations. I'm not sure if how many of you knows that where we are is one of the friendly or eco-friendly accommodations. This hotel is known to be the most greener hotel, and it uses renewable energy and also practice prudent ways to water management, Hotel Verde. And there could be other hotels in Zanzibar, but it's worth it to mention this one as we are here and talking about sustainability. Cultural preservation is also very important. And here in Zanzibar, we take pride in a way that we have code of conducts that tour operators and others needs to educate the travelers as to what they need to adhere to, especially the dressing code, for example, during the normal days. But also when it comes to Ramadan, you know, Muslims here are maybe 98%, and when they are fasting, the tourists are expected to respect the season, the holy month, by not drinking in the public places and things like that. So this is also important thing. Community involvement, I'm glad that it has been talked here. That is also part of sustainable halal tourism. They need to involve the community, understand their values, respect their values, but more importantly, buy from the communities. Unfortunately, in certain markets, there is a bigger room whereby you find a hotel from France, everything is coming from France, and nothing is bought within the communities. So we needed to also make sure this community benefits from the tourism or from the tour operators that are around their area. Sustainable practices in tour operations, this is also another important aspect. And finally, is awareness and education. We need to educate the tour operators, the service providers, but the tourists as well, with respect to proper practices that can ensure sustainability in the places they visit, and so on. If they go to the national parks, if they move around the towns, okay, there are certain things that they need to be made aware so that those areas are there for the future generations. And sustainable practices that not just common in halal tourism, but also non-halal tourism, is over-tourism. A place like Zanzibar, we are talking about 1 million population in total. How many can we accommodate without being overcrowded and things becomes chaotic, okay, in our traffics and so on. So it's important to see how we can manage this issue of over-tourism. Wildlife exploitations, normally there is an opportunity to go to national parks and so on, and there are licenses on what you can do, for example, when it comes to animal hunting and so on. But unfortunately, we also see sometimes the destruction of the misuse of these licenses, not only on the animal side, but even on the fishery side. when it comes to marine tourism and so on. So it's important to make sure we avoid such kind of practices. Environmental degradation, this is very delicate issue, but again, there should be, or there are, normally in most countries, even here, you have to do environmental assessment and so on. And as we have heard from the CEO of Zipper, they ensure there are precautions and mitigations to ensure that we don't destroy the flora and fauna to our surroundings in our beautiful islands and so many other places. Resource depletion is also another unsustainable practices. Deforestation, waste generation, and carbon emissions from travel. These are unsustainable issues. Coming to the role of private sector, where I sit as a consultant in halal tourism, our role is strategic planning and development. We advise the businesses in the tourism sector on how to ensure their businesses are sustainable by designing plans, incorporating sustainable practices, market research and insights, training and capacity building, sustainability audit and certification. This is very important. I'm not so sure how many hotels here in Zanzibar have sustainability or eco-friendly certifications. Probably there are. Where I also operate in Kenya, it is something that hotels are very bragging about. You just enter the main entrance and you find a certificate of eco-friendly certificate. Here, it could be there, but it's not known. You don't know if it is eco-friendly, but it is it is important to have this certification. Together with that is the halal certification. Brothers here have talked about this. You could say Zanzibar is by default halal, okay? But you need certifications. You need to prove that you are. And that proof could be self-declared proof. Yourself as the operator, I'm a Muslim, everything is halal here. But somebody coming from North America or other places, he doesnn take it for granted. He knows people cheat for businesses. Okay, so he would like an extra assurance that there is a third party or a body that oversee and checks you and monitor what you do and certified you for that matter. Policy advocacy, this is engaging stakeholder, the government, by pushing to have policies which are pro-halal tourism and so on. Marketing and promotion and stakeholder engagements. These are other aspects or roles of advisors within the sector. Finally, as you asked to give an example of sustainable tourism project in Tanzania, as I said, ecotourism lodges and hotels. Here we are in one of them. And I'm glad what brother said, that we should really go to the website and give a good rating for this particular hotel. And we are not doing it just in favor, but due to this bold steps that they have done towards sustainability, but also towards the halal accommodation aspect of it. So in Serengeti National Parks, mostly they are required to build the camps which are sustainable by design. Then we have low emission safari vehicles, okay, that are electric. As we speak here in Dar es Salaam, there is a Swahili international tourism exhibitions, and when I visited it on Friday, there was a display of an electric vehicle and people are taken through it is design, it is efficiency, and so on and so forth. But this is no longer now in a far distant places. We used to see it in South Africa, in Africa, and other places. But now it is at home as well. It is in Tanzania. So those who are in that particular business, safaris and so on, they can also embrace this practice. Cultural protection, a directive in Zanzibar, as I mentioned, with respect to dress code, with respect to respecting the Ramadan, and so on. We see these are sustainable cultural practices in both fronts, environmentally and culturally. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brother Halfan. Allow me to give this opportunity for the audience. If you have any question, well, yes, Sheikh, you are the first one. And then, brother again. Maybe like only 3 questions. If there is another one, yes, and Madam will be the last one. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. My name is Ali Abdallah from Oman. I think we have a lot of rich information, but my humble request, do we have best practices in halal tourism in place so that we can tap in immediately?
You mean in Tanzania or outside?
Either Tanzania or from UK or from Turkey, from wherever. That's, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The process should be there and just get it and off the shelf.
Who wants to chip in? He's asking, do we have a best model?
Best practices.
Best practice of halal tourism, because they don't want to reinvent the wheel. Start.
In my presentation, the place Safari Hisar, for example, the hotel I have been, which has more than 400 rooms, were a hotel, like Turkey is a Muslim country, but it was a actually non-Muslim hotel just before the slow city movement, just maybe 5 years ago. But now, I mean, I got that case study not only showing how halal tourism economically can bring more tourists, but at the same time the level of the tourist it is bringing, like conscious tourist, because we don't have to put dress code, etc., etc., as long as we have already halal tourists around. They will already not consume alcohol and do silly things around when you bring this kind of people to the country. So that is why I think it was one of the good examples from Turkey. But for me, Salam is a better example, because in Salam, you don't have a prayer mat in the room only. You have a masjid where you can pray together while you are doing your holiday, or where you can talk about so many issues which Muslim people are facing, challenges, etc. At the same time, you go and involve in community. In daytime, you go to school and play with kids. So many activities which you can do with Muslim brothers and sisters from all around the world, not only the Zanzibari community, everywhere who same mind, same like-minded, like-hearted people. So that is 2 examples from my side.
In terms of UK, in terms of hotel accommodation, we have independent Muslim-owned hotels, but they could only perhaps be 3-star hotels. They won't sell any alcohol there. Some may even have a prayer room in the hotel. And there are other hotels which could be 5-star, but they will sell alcohol. However, if you book through halalbookings.com or directly, and you say that you don't want to have no alcohol in the minibar, then they would actually take out the alcohol from the minibar. But as at the moment, we just don't have a 5-star hotel in the UK. We've got one which is owned by Muslims and the Muslim investors in Scotland, but they said that the only way they could get a 5-star luxury rating was to introduce alcohol, but they just didn't want to do it. And they actually put their bar in a cabinet, and it's on the far side of the dining room, so they're trying to minimize it as much as possible. And but that was the only way they could actually acquire that for 5-star rating for a hotel. In terms of tour guiding, in terms of different part of halal tourism, that's something that we do around the world in terms of upskilling the existing tour guides. So in that sense, there is already a practice there that just needs to be spread out around the world.
Thank you. Yes, sure.
Thank you. My name is Swedi. Thank you very much for the great presentations. Maybe it was answered, but I have a question in relation to involvement of religious leaders in halal tourism. So can the panel members from outside Tanzania talk about what maybe challenges or the good practices they faced when dealing with religious leaders in promoting halal tourism, and then the director at the end talk about how it can be done in Tanzania with religious leaders, because we're talking about halal, Islam. I'm sure religious leaders will have to be involved in one way or another. Thank you.
Madam, you want to respond? Yes. Please, Brother Salim, can you give to Madam? And Madam, can you also introduce yourself so that maybe she can understand?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm Ferouz Holiday October, CVO of Halal Hopper Travel and Taste Experiences, and also the chair of the Halal Tourism Association of South Africa. My contribution to that, Sheikh, is that our ulama is very important in the ecosystem, the journey for halal tourism. Where I find they fit in with best practice is that, of course, when we do masjid visits, all right, and that needs to be part of the journey. So the ulama at the masjid must then, of course, understand, how to welcome those guests into the masjid. I mean, we had such a wonderful experience in, what was the, I can't remember, outside Salam. We always talk about Salam, alhamdulillah. So we went to the oldest masjid, in the village, in Kizimkazi. The oldest village goes back to 12th century, okay? And our guide wanted to take us in, but we couldn't enter until the imam came, all right? Which is good because it's about preservation and all of those kind of things. And mashallah, the imam came on his bicycle to come and open, to give us the opportunity to go inside there. But just from that perspective, I think there should be a lot about maybe training in that aspect to see, how the community plus the ulama can work together with all the other service providers to make sure that they are part of that ecosystem, because you're very important. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Thank you, Madam.
Actually, in South Africa, we actually have that conversation with our imams, and they happily tell us, just call us when you've got a group or whoever wants to come. And I'm a tourist guide myself as well. So we then give them a call and say we are bringing groups in, and then, of course, they're ready to welcome them. And when it's time for Salah, after the Salah, they will then tell the congregation, please, our brothers and sisters are here from this country and that country. And then, of course, they'll sit back and, of course, engage them as well.
Thank you, Madam. Brother Salim, can you give the mic to Sister Rahma? And the Sister Rahma, you will finalize to Dr. Neema. And then it will be the end of our...
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rahma Sanya, the Marketing Director of Zanzibar Commission for Tourism. To answer this question, just for the information, we are collaborating, Zanzibar Commission for Tourism, collaborating with the Office of Mufti in Zanzibar. And soon there's a group of students. They'll be going to Bahrain, specific for mosque tour. So when they come back, there will be the ambassadors. There will be the teachers, and they will be doing that. That's one. Two, we've had yesterday Mufti Meng. You've heard him. He was really talking about tourism. So that's a best example. And he invited everyone to come to Zanzibar, and it's halal friendly. So we have support from the scholars and ulama. So tourism is not a bad thing, and we are going to exploit the opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Neema.
Thank you very much. I'm CPA Dr. Neema Kiure, a certified sustainability professional from Ernst & Young. Maybe to ask for experience from other areas, how can these halal tourism businesses ensure that their supply chain is both halal compliant and also environmentally sustainable? Because sometimes we find challenges there. And when we look at our environment, Tanzania, Zanzibar, In what ways can we use technology to enhance sustainability in halal tourism, particularly if we look at areas such as energy use, waste management, or customer engagement? Thank you.
Brother Khalfan, can you chip in this? Or?
Thank you. It requires more time than it is available to discuss this. Just before I answer name, I wanted to share experience in Kenya for the Sheikh, and with the respect to what Madam from the Commission said with the mosque tour. In Kenya, in Nairobi, Masjid Jamia, just as we speak here, they have what they call open day on 12th and it goes. This open day is to allow everybody, Muslim, non-Muslim, particularly non-Muslims, Muslim you can go anytime, non-Muslims, to come and visit the masjid and be taken a tour of the masjid, of what it is, what it does, and so on and so forth. Now, I wonder how is that difficult to do for Masjid Zanzibar? But maybe it requires a lot of things, and it is good to start with the training, maybe go to get a training and be able to have open day for tourists to come and visit the Masjid Zanzibar, for example. There are so many masjids here. This is just an example. So that is involvement of religious leaders. Those who are hosting them, they guide them on maybe what to dress while they enter the mosque, and they are taking the tour to varieties of section within the masjid, and so on and so forth. Coming to Naema's question, along the supply chains, when you look at a hotel, for example, like this one, okay, there are so many things that it requires, which needs to be provided by so many other players. Okay, now you get a supply of meat, for example. Okay, the supply of meat here, is the business sustainable from that particular angle, from that supply of meat? It could be, it might not be. The issue here, I think, with respect to sustainability, and we don't simply see, we see them in so many places, is that the players still not aware about what sustainability is all about. Okay? Sometimes it is confused with continuity. Okay? That is just about the business continuity, having continuity plans for the business to continue. But it is not just that. It's about the environment, the utilization of resources, the cultural issues, and so on. So I think we still have a lot to do, and this challenge will be addressed if our educational institutions start embodying, integrating the topic of sustainability in many fronts, not just, for example, as I said, in Kenya, for example, I remember 2017 when I was at the Gulf African Bank, one of the first Sharia-compliant bank, the Kenya's Bankers Associations, through the Central Bank of Kenya, mandated a course to all sector players to do a course on sustainable finance. And you have to pass that test. However many you will take, but you have to pass that test. So it requires multi-sectoral players to make sure we educate. There is a way to enforce these kind of things. And a colleague said here, you might have policies and so on, which our government could design, but the issue again comes to enforceability of those policies, which could be a challenge. But I think creating awareness, making sure there are proper laws and enforcement of those laws, we can be able to ensure there are sustainable practices along the supply chains within the halal tourism, but also outside of the halal tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Khalfan. Thank you, the panelists. Only one? Yes, I have been mandated to only allow one question from the sister who has the,
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
We understand halal. My name is Shangwe Yusuf from Fisherman Tours and Travel Limited.
Okay.
We understand halal tourism involves lifestyle, and Zanzibar culture and history is mostly involves outside the city. People who are living out of the city. To be realistic, these are the people who are living in dark. They don't even know if we are here today. They don't have social media. And these are very important people to attract this platform. Can the government tell us how exactly are they going to educate this part of the community? For instance, us, Fisherman Tours, our aim is to serve and to make sure the tourism goes back to the society. So we have our own products that supporting the community, and we have one of them is Mama Zanzibar. Mama Zanzibar is supporting the Muyun village. We have given an opportunity to the youth. We have educated them. They are our professional guides through that tour. So how exactly the government is going to educate this part of the community?
Yeah, thank you. Kindly allow me to give opportunity for Madam Hafsa from the President Delivery Bureau and looking on the tourism to respond on this. And if Madam Hafsa, you have something to contribute, if you have anything to contribute, and then you can contribute. Please, Madam Hafsa.
Thank you very much. I think I'll stand. Obviously today is the beginning. Halal tourism is not new in Zanzibar, but we won't reach all the stakeholders overnight. But the main reason why we're here is to actually put those strategies in place on how we will reach all the stakeholders and how every stakeholder will actually contribute towards this course. So I don't have a direct answer right now exactly how, but everybody who's part of this journey and every stakeholder is equally important and will play a role in ensuring that we develop halal tourism holistically. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Brother, Dr. Salam, can you please close on this question? It was only 1 point. Sorry, brother. Yes. Okay. Brother Salam, if you... Yeah.
Thank you. In addition to that, actually, if Madam Shangwe were present, when I was talking, actually, I talked about the 5 aspects, actually. One of those aspects was collaboration with the stakeholders, actually, which is, I said, is through public-private partnership. And when I said through public-private partnership, I meant to collaborate with like fishermen tours and other stakeholders, actually that is, I talked also about community involvement. So through PPP, we can involve the community to educate them. Actually, if you have that program right now, you are the right person, actually, we can engage with you so that we can communicate with the community, to educate them so that they can take this opportunity. So don't worry about that, of course, we'll take care of that. And of course, as Institute of Public Administration is actually we are mandated to give for capacity building to public and private, and now we go further even to individual, like communities. So we have those community outreach. Of course, we can reach them and educate them about halal tourism.
Thank you, Doctor. Actually, yeah, we are running out of time. Actually, okay, because okay, because there is another function. Yeah, allow me to close this session. Sorry, but let us go back to this concept that halal tourism is not only. There is a lot to talk about halal tourism and sustainable tourism, Muslim-friend tourism, family-friend tourism, ethical tourism, and so on. So let's go back to this concept and grow more on the learning about this concept as well. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, panelists and all the people, and sorry for those who missed the chance to ask. Yeah, thank you.
We apologize. We know we have a lot of questions and ideas. We are welcome to Zanzibar Commission Tourism Office. You can share your ideas with us through different channels. Thank you very much, our moderator and the panelists. Thank you, the audience, for being here with us from morning till now. We know it's a Sunday. We really appreciate that. As we're closing up, I would like to take this opportunity and call on stage Madam Hassan Bamba, who is the Tourism Delivery Manager from Zanzibar Presidential Delivery Unit, for closing remarks. Madam Hafsa, karibu tafadhali. Makofi tafadhali.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and our media who have been really good in capturing today's event. I'd like to start off by, first of all, thanking everybody for your patience and for your participation today as we conclude this groundbreaking first Zanzibar Halal Tourism Exhibition. I can't help but be filled with immense excitement and optimism for the future of halal tourism in Zanzibar. These discussions we've had today over the course of several hours have been very enlightening and have set a strong foundation, I'd like to say, for Zanzibar's journey towards becoming a premier halal tourism destination. I'd like to just point to a few key takeaways. There were many. But our conversations covered crucial aspects of developing a robust halal tourism sector for Zanzibar. And I'd like to mention three. One, we heard several times the importance of creating a comprehensive halal tourism framework and strategy for Zanzibar. Two, engaging various stakeholders, especially our local communities, in this transformative process. And third, developing a unique and compelling halal tourism brand for Zanzibar. There were many, but for me, these were sort of the three main key takeaways from today's panel discussions. We've had the privilege of learning from various countries during the panel discussions, including Indonesia, Turkey, South Africa, Qatar, and so on, and each offering valuable insights into their successful halal tourism initiatives and their ongoing lessons that we can learn from. Now, what's the road ahead? While we acknowledge that the path towards halal tourism may present some challenges, and undoubtedly provide us with knowledge and inspiration from other destinations and connect us to overcome these challenges, I believe the network that we've built today will be instrumental in propelling Zanzibar's journey towards the goal of becoming a desired or sought after halal tourism destination in this region. And what is our call to action? I believe to maintain this momentum and capitalize on the energy that we've felt during the course of today, I'd like to propose a significant resolution from this exhibition, which was actually proposed by one of our panelists, Mr. Mohammed Sadiq, to establish an association for halal tourism in Africa. As a strategist, I believe this was a very good idea, a suggestion for Zanzibar. And this could work as an umbrella entity so that we can leverage on Zanzibar's strategic location, as well as our rich Islamic heritage, to create a unified voice for halal tourism development across the continent, but obviously involving all our associate members that we've also had the privilege of sharing this room today. So I'd like to extend an open invitation to all relevant stakeholders, particularly those who are present here today, to join us in this groundbreaking initiative. Together, I believe we can create a very powerful platform for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and growth in the halal tourism sector. And my closing remarks as we leave this exhibition, let's carry all the insights that we've gained today, the connections that we've forged, and the shared vision of a thriving halal tourism industry in Zanzibar and beyond. The journey ahead, as I mentioned, may be challenging, but with our collective efforts and the foundation laid today, I'm confident that we'll succeed in positioning Zanzibar as a leading halal tourism destination and other halal tourism destinations within the continent and beyond. Thank you again for your participation, your valuable contribution, especially those who've traveled far to join us and to share your knowledge with us and your commitment to this important cause. Let's move forward with determination, innovation, and a spirit of collaboration to unlock the potential of halal tourism in Zanzibar and across Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Hafsa, and that marks it the end of our panel discussion, everything. We have a short video about the halal tourism, and we would like for you to watch halal tourism promo, and we can share this on your social media. Please don't forget to tag Zanzibar Commission for Tourism in all of your photos, video, anything about halal tourism, anything about Zanzibar tourism. Please tag us on your social media. Thank you so much and have a very good evening. Asante.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wakati huu tukiwa tumefika ukingoni wa maonesho, lakini pia mijadala hii kuhusiana na utalii halali Zanzibar. Ikumbuke kwamba kila tukio lililotokea hapa kuanzia katika maonesho yaliyoanza asubuhi yalikuwa yameletwa hapa kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Utalii na Maliasili Zanzibar kupitia Kamisheni ya Utalii hapa visiwani Zanzibar. Na pamoja na hayo, baada ya maonesho tulikuwa tuna mijadala ambayo ilikuwa katika nyakati 4 ama mijadala 4, na mijadala yote hii kubwa zaidi ilikuwa ikiangazia ni namna gani ambavyo utalii wa halali visiwani Zanzibar unaweza ukafanikiwa. Tutakumbuka kwamba katika mijadala yote hiyo umetolewa mifano mbali ikiwemo mifano ya maeneo ambayo yamepata mafanikio makubwa katika utalii wa halali. Nchi kama Indonesia, nchi kama Afrika Kusini na maeneo mengine ikiwemo Uingereza. Yote haya yamekuwa ni sehemu ya mifano ambayo inaonyesha tija katika utalii wa halali. Bila shaka sisi sote tutajumuika na Serikali ya Mapinduzi Zanzibar na kila mmoja ambaye anatakia mema mafanikio ya Tanzania kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba utalii wa halali unafanikiwa. Jina langu ni Moses Mohamed kutoka hapa Hotel Verde, ambako tuko pamoja na timu nzima ya Azam TV pamoja na ZBC2. Tulikuwa tukiletea matangazo haya mubashara kabisa. Nikutakia kila laheri, lakini kubwa zaidi nikukumbushe jioni ya leo tukielekea katika Marina Park ya hapa Hotel Verde tutakuwa tuna tukio kubwa pamoja naye Mufti Menki, tukio ambalo tulikuwa tumekualika tangu jana na tukuhakikishia kwamba litakuwa ni tukio kubwa na la aina yake. Tafadhali usikose. Kwa wale ambao tayari wameshakuwa na tiketi zao, nafasi ni hii kuanza kujongea Hotel Verde kwa ajili ya kujumuika katika tukio hilo. Kwa wale wenzangu ambao wako nyumbani, niwaambie salamu alaikum wa afa minkum, jioni njema.